Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Key of W playing the Artisan of Glimmith, the brand new puzzle game from the developers of Islands of Insight. Alright, so what I've done so far is I've basically played through the main game, and upon completing it, I was told that there are some secret puzzles. So back here, I thought I'd completely gilded this, or finished this area because I'd gilded the window. But it turns out there's now a jewel puzzle. This isn't here when you start the game, so spoilers by the way. Once you complete the game, it unlocks hidden puzzles. So I'm going to look for hidden puzzles that I've missed. I actually think I saw something back here. There's this red light. So now we have something back here. All shapes must be the pentomino, which I think is just going to be here. So doing that, crown jewel, adorn your first window with jewels. Alright, so that's what that is. So now I've completed everything in this area. That's how this is going to go. So now I'm going to go through and actually 100% the game now that I've seen everything, so to speak. So here's the hidden puzzle. So I guess the hidden puzzles are just invisible. Because it's not like I saw these puzzles. Oh, this is going to be a difficult one. Let's hope it's actually a good difficult one, though. All regions must be one of these shapes. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ha! So how am I going to do this? We got O shape, and then we're going to have whatever this shape is. So let's talk about this special shape. It's definitely not going to go here. That can't happen, because now we have a lone shape. Every shape must be at least in an O. Because this could be thought of as three O's that are overlapping. There's an O there, an O there, and an O there. This can't happen. So genuinely, oh, I can't bring this out. Can't be this part of the shape. Now I could bring it this way. Like we can have, don't draw the borders, please. This is a possible thing we can do. Right? So I just know that we can't have that. So I'm looking for a break-in. I'm going to try not to do guesswork to solve this. If I were to do this here, would this solve anything for me? Well, I can also think of it this way. This shape, putting four of these shapes together, is there anywhere I can do that? I don't think there's anywhere it fits. But genuinely, like, four of these shapes would enclose a single O shape. If that makes any sense. So let's look at, I'm going to actually really quick just put in a bunch of O's and see what's going on. So this 6 across, so 12 spaces, 10 spaces down. So the difficulty here is now, what do I put in these spaces here? Right? I've got to figure out what goes in here. Something has to go. We have to put what I'm going to say the purple shape in here somewhere. So we can set two separate ones. Like this, or I can set them a little further apart. This isn't good, though. I don't want to be doing this, do I? I can do this. This works. I thought I'd break the puzzle because I go, well, I can't do... Excuse me. I can't do that, obviously. So I'd have to put another purple piece in here, and it would be like that. But then what I do here, I do another purple one, and it leaves a red space there. And this is a problem because I need to put a purple and a red here. But how would I do it? I don't think I could make this work. Because let's say I put the red space there. We would now have to do this with the purple space. And then what would we put here? We'd have to put a purple space here. And this breaks the puzzle. This breaks the puzzle. So we'd break it there. So we'd have to put a purple space here. And then this... I think breaks it as well. We can't do that for sure. We'd have to do this piece. I'll show you how this breaks. We have to have an O piece here. Now the question is, where do we put... Do we do it this way? No, actually, hold on. This still works. I thought I broke it. I thought I broke the puzzle. I didn't break the puzzle. But now we'd have to put an O piece here. There's no way. Then we'd have to put one there. Then we'd have to put a purple piece somewhere in here. Not sure where. This spot, 3 across has to be this much at least, and it has to be connected there. Not a fan of this. Hold on, did I just accidentally solve the puzzle? I don't like that. I mean, this puzzle wasn't nearly as aggravating as the previous one, but again, I feel kind of cheated on solving it because I was like, well, I could do this and then just kind of go rather than logically working it out. But at the same time, I didn't know how to logically work it out, right? That's a puzzle dilemma we're going to see a lot once you start making hard puzzles. And in fact, I am a person who enjoys community-made puzzles. Haven't really played them for this game so much because there's not that many. The game is very brand new. But in other games, I have played community-made puzzles. And what tends to happen in 99% of difficult puzzles made by the community, not to like call you out, is the puzzles are all like this. They are meant to look really, really difficult, but the break-in is not obvious. Break-in meaning what's the first move you're supposed to make. And because there's no easy break-in, it encourages players to guess, like I just did, because guessing is faster. If I wanted to find the logical break-in, I would sit here for 45 minutes looking at what exactly I needed to do, rather than what I just did, which is much faster and easier. So designing a puzzle that is difficult and does not encourage brute forcing is a challenge, and puzzle designers who pull that off earn my highest praise. So the person who designed this, sorry, this is not one of your best. Because it is a puzzle that is meant to be brute forced rather than solved. But whatever, I got the jewel, so I'm happy. So let's head back over this way, because apparently there's going to be 4 more puzzles. Okay. Wait, what does tab do? Oh, it just makes them shine brighter. How much brighter does it make them shine? Well, it doesn't make them shine from here at all. Nothing's happening when I press tab. Do I have to be close? Or, oh, I have to be hovering over that. So if I hover over this, then it will show me the hidden puzzles. Got it. Well, I'm not going to try to use that too much, but at the same time, like, the puzzle isn't to find the puzzle's to do the puzzles. Let's start with whatever is not too difficult. Oh, that's a 7? Is that all? Let's start with 4. Rows windows. All right, we're going to need regions of 5. They're all going to be pentominoes, so apparently we have 8 by 5, 40 pentominoes. We're going to have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So I'm going to just do this wanton coloring, what is going to go in each region. So this is going to be a, well, it's not going to be a difficult puzzle. 4s are pretty handy. 1 through 4 I don't really struggle with that much. 5 through 7 is where we're going to struggle. So let's look for the break-in, like I was just talking about. It's the logical move we have to make to start the puzzle rather than me guessing, what if I did this, and then see if the puzzle's solved. Okay. This blue space is going to take one of these 2 triangles. That is for sure. Who's going to take this square? Let's think about that. So if purple does not take the square, if we block this off, what square can it take? It has to be either this one or that one. And it doesn't look like I'm that concerned with how it happens. So let's say that's not the break-in point, but it's a good guess. Now, this might be a better break-in point. Who takes this diamond? Who takes it? It could be purple, in which case purple would be a straight line up and down. It could also be teal through here. A lot of the diamonds are on this side. I have 2 diamonds on this side and 3 colors, essentially. So one of these 3 colors needs to go this direction, minimum. We could have both blue and cyan take these diamonds, and then leave teal to take this, for instance. Because there's so many diamonds here. Better break-in. Where's orange going to go to get a purple symbol? That one. There's no other purple symbol it can grab. So it needs to grab those symbols either through here or through there. Actually, it can zig. It can zag. But either way, this must connect with the purple here. So now the red must extend to the right to avoid, well, not to avoid, but to get any purple symbol. And now the only one it can reach is, in fact, this one here. Great. Well, now, if orange doesn't touch this diamond, then then nobody can, because orange is going to block it off. Therefore, orange has to take these symbols. Great. See, that's what we call a break-in. If you're watching this and you're a puzzle designer, that's a break-in. A lot of puzzle designers are afraid of putting them in because putting a break in a place that you're supposed to start, they think, oh, now the puzzle's too easy because now I just put these in. I solved something. It was easier than otherwise. But the thing is, I did this logically. I feel smart now. If I was guessing until I solved the puzzle, I don't feel smart. I feel like a loser, and I hate you as a puzzle designer with like a passion. Whoever designed this, that was a good move. You deserve a raise. Okay. I'm still mad about the video, the puzzle I saw in the last video. Just like seething with anger at how terrible it was. All right. Okay. Somebody's got to get that triangle. One of these three. And it could be any of them. Is there a world in which we don't do this? Right? This yellow touches this purple. I think that's possible. I don't think that's a problem yet. Well, okay, let me just think of it this way. We have 3 diamonds in here. These 3 colors are the only ones that can touch them. There is no getting around that. If I were to, say, touch this diamond, there's now 3 in here, 2 colors can reach. We definitely know that. We also know this can't go down because now this green one or this teal one would have to touch 2 diamonds. So that is guaranteed. The yellow must touch that diamond. Now, of course, the green must touch the diamond below it, and the teal the one below that. So one of these 3 guys is going to grab a triangle here. So the question is, who can grab a second triangle? Teal could grab this triangle, yes, but it can also grab that one. Green can grab that triangle and that one, but yellow cannot reach any triangles, except this one. Yellow now can't move rightward because we've already got a square. We need a purple. That's the one. Who's going to touch this diamond now? Nobody can reach it except for cyan. Triangle, it could be either one of those. No, this is going to block blue in, therefore triangle is there. Cyan is complete. Green must extend out, and in order to reach a triangle must go through a square, so the square here belongs to teal. I think we have this right solved. All right, let's look at 5. Where's the 5er? Right there. All regions must be this very interesting shape. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 regions. 15 times 6, obviously we're going to have 90 spaces. 9 by 10. That doesn't really help me. How do I arrange these? Well, this shape can't be part of the O. It can't, because then it would touch those. So it could be here. That is a potential shape. If it goes this way, that's a shape. And if it goes this way, that's a shape. Okay, we know it's not going to go this way. The reason we know that is because then this shape doesn't touch any rose window. Therefore, that is blocked. This is totally doable. Does this cause any problems? Yes. How do I deal with this shape? This shape cannot be part of the extended arm. It must be part of the O shape. And then which direction can we go? This direction causes a double. This direction means we have 3 in the arm. We're screwed. So let's go back. We know that is the first shape. Again, a break-in. I'm going to hammer this point home. Your puzzles need break-ins. That's how you do good puzzle design. And the break-in can be hard, but the break-in needs to be easier than guessing. If guessing is easier than a break-in, you're a bad puzzle designer. This piece must be part of an O, because if it's just part of an arm, then this is the shape, or that's the shape, and we're screwed. So this is part of the O, which means this is the shape. All right, I gotta think about this. If we have the O shape here, we're really in trouble. So this is part of the arm, and that's the O shape. Therefore, there must be an O shape up here. Because if there's not, if this is an arm, we have a blockage. So we have to make an O shape and then come down and grab a piece. This is an arm making an O shape. Okay. This can't be part of the arm going that way. This can be an O shape. An O shape easily. This piece is either going to grab that or that. I think this breaks the puzzle, right? Because then what goes here? Has to be part of the shape, has to be part of the O shape. Can't be part of an arm because the arm goes 4 spaces. That would go into there. Doesn't happen. This, however, creates a really bad problem. So we're going to remove this shape and it must go like so. Or like that. Either way, it must extend that direction. Now, if it extends all the way, it must be this piece, which doesn't have a problem. If it extends like this, I think we break the puzzle again. This can't be part of an arm because it would extend there. Therefore, this is part of an O shape, which must be like so. But we can't extend here, we'd have to extend there. Now, what do we do? Oh no, it just barely makes it. No, it still breaks the puzzle. Because this piece can't go anywhere. This piece would have to extend here and there, and then we definitely have a problem. So, I think this is the only solution. This can't be part of the arm for in any direction, because this blocks the piece in, this grabs 2 pieces. This can't be part of the arm unless it's like this. Can it be part of the O? Yeah, part of the O is fine. It actually could do this. That's a possible thing. Okay, I don't know where that goes. This can't extend that direction, so it could be that, or an O. But either way, it comes down a space. If this is an arm sideways, we have a problem up here. Because then, yeah, what do we do? So this could be... we have too many options with that one. Do I have to move down to this corner? Who touches that? This is the arm, we're good. Like that. This could also be any of these shapes. There's too many shapes down there. That's not a good place to move next. This piece. This piece. Can this piece, in this corner, ever touch that piece? No. Because if we do, we have that. And then it doesn't have anywhere to go. Therefore, this piece must touch that one. We could do it that way, but we could also do it this way. Well, let me think about it this way. If this were the piece, right? This would be the forced move. This can't be the solution. First of all, because it creates that. But the other reason is uniqueness. There's supposed to be one solution per puzzle. This right here is exactly the same as that. As far as things go, it would have the same rest of the solution. Therefore, that is not what we're going to do. You can't have that go that way. So I think I've got something very wrong here. Well, it can't be this one, because it forces this, which is the same as the other solution. Therefore, it must be the other way around. And then this piece must come out to make a unique solution again. So this piece must come out. Therefore, this one is... is it here? Or is it here? It can't go up here, because then what do I do? This piece is done. That's that. Then we must go all 4 down this way. Right? Yeah, because if we don't, we go that way. All 4 goes down that way. This, I think, is the solution down here. And I think we have the puzzle done. That's it. That's the solution. I think we have this puzzle done. No, we don't. Hold on a second. No, it's no, I must have something wrong down here. I thought I had it, but I don't. Is this better? No, who's gonna touch? Let's think of it. Let's think of it a little bit more logical. Who's gonna touch that? It can't move 4 spaces to the right, so it has to move 4 spaces up. And therefore it touches that. So this is correct. This is correct. Is it this way? Yes, this way. I was so close. That's a good puzzle. All right, let's do the sixture. Let's hope it's a good one. All shapes. So we have an F pentomino, a P pentomino, and a Y pentomino. All right, let's start by blocking off what we know cannot be the case. Hoo boy. How about down here? What can we put? We can't put a P pentomino. We know that for sure. We also can't make an F pentomino here. How would we make the F pentomino? What is this a part of? F pentominos require a 3x3 space to work with. We don't have that here because we can't use either of those spots. So this is part of the Y pentomino. So now it's a question of whether it goes there or there. But either way, it must take these positions. Now let's take a look at this good old circle here. I'm hoping I got this break in correct, because if I didn't, then this is going to be a really long day. This can't be part of the P pentomino. There's just no way. Let's suppose I had this incorrect. There's your P pentomino. Now, what is this? This can't be a P pentomino, because it can't make an O shape anywhere. It can't be part of the Y, so it'd have to be part of an F. But how do we make the F shape? We don't. So, we were correct. This can't be a P, because now we don't have anywhere to put. Well, we don't have a square to put in there. This one can only touch... Well, this can't be a Y pentomino, can it? It can. It fits. So let's suppose we don't grab that square. How do we reach this? Look at these pentominos. Is there any pentomino where you can move 2 away and then 2 away and find the same position? No. None of them do that. Therefore, these two touch. Like that. And they must be an F shape, actually. It's the only thing I can do. That's how we do it. This is the only shape that works. Okay. Let's suppose that's our break-in. Now this piece down here, what can it touch? It can be a Y shape up here. It cannot be a P shape because it won't touch 2 symbols. It can also be an F shape, like so. But it will touch this spot here. That is required. This is going to happen. So it's either going to move this way or that way. Let's see about this guy. Well, if I made an F shape here, I still could make this work with a Y shape. That is fine. Now, if I made a Y shape here, we'd have to touch with a P shape. That's the only way. This guy's never going to touch this square. It's never going to happen. Right? If we touch the square here, we're screwed. So we know that's not going to be the case. So this is going to move up, for sure. So the question is whether it grabs these spaces or grabs the... Oh, it'll always grab this space. We can't not grab that space. If we don't grab that space, what shape is here? It doesn't work. So if we always grab this space, we must grab that one to make a Y shape, which means this is an F shape. Let's see. This must come out, and so it must avoid that. Nope, I've broken the puzzle. How would I do this differently? Look, and how would I do it differently? Let's head back. Going back to here, again, this can't be right. We know this isn't right, because now what is the square we touch here? There's no way for this shape to be anything other than a Y. Yeah. needs a 3x3 space. There's no way to fit it in. So that means this shape has nowhere to go. It can't reach that. So yeah, that's still correct. Is this a Y shape maybe? Then what is this shape? That's another Y. I think we're still here. Then maybe this was a mistake. Ah, yes, here's another way I could do the shape. I didn't see that. That is a way I could do that shape. If that's the case, I need to be a little more careful over here. What's something I can do? Well, again, I think I have the same issue with these shapes. I can't bring this circle over to the square because then there's no way to make this shape happen. In fact, if I move it left at all, can I make a shape? Yeah, I have to make the F shape there. So if we can't bring the square to the circle, what square can we touch? If we touch this one, there's two ways to do it. There's this way, which breaks the puzzle, and then there's this way, which potentially breaks the puzzle, but not sure. Now, can I bring it to there? No. The shapes... yeah. There's not much difference between them, actually. I can bring it to this shape with an O piece. I can also bring it with an F piece. But this breaks the puzzle, because then we need this space to belong to whatever touches both of these, and there's no way to do that without further breaking the puzzle here or there. Or, yeah, there's just no way. So this can't be an F shape going there. Actually, this can't be an F shape at all. Here's F shape number 1, and it blocks that in. F shape number 2, oh, hold on, that blocks that in. F shape number 3 seems fine, but then this shape doesn't work. So I don't think this is an F shape at all. Is there any other way to do it? This way totally breaks the puzzle. Yeah, so let me just rotate this in my mind, because I'm very bad at rotating shapes. If I rotated this clockwise, I have now this shape, which doesn't touch everything, and then this shape. Is that right? No. Rotate this shape is going to be... yeah, it doesn't touch everything. And then I can't rotate it again, because it'll go across that border. Now, there's also this way... or, sorry, there's also this way, which doesn't work. Here, flip it around, that's broken. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. So no F shape. Great, I've rolled that out. So this is a P shape or a Y shape? P shape is fine. Actually, can this shape ever move up? Right? So if I took this shape and moved it up, this things it could be now, it could be a Y shape, and it would be forced to make this Y shape. That's totally fine. But this breaks the puzzle, because now this piece needs to be an F shape here, and then this piece needs to connect here, and there's too many spaces in there. So we can't have the Y shape that way. If it moved up, it could be a P shape. That's bad. That's bad. If it moved up, it can't be an F shape. So I don't think it moves up. So I think we are forced into an F shape over here. That was a lot of work to just say the thing I saw 5 minutes ago. Let's see about the rest of this. Well, somebody's got to be here. And it's got to be the one connected to this circle, I believe. Right? Because what is this going to connect to? This piece here can't connect to any other circle. They're all too far away. Except that one, but it's the wrong shape. So we have a P shape there. Gosh, I hope I'm doing the right thing here. This shape needs to touch a square. The only one is here, and the only way to do it is another P shape. Y shape works as well, but it creates an orphan. This shape, there's a square here. What circle can it touch? It can't touch that one. There's no way to make a shape with sort of two diagonal spaces away. None of them work. It can make this one with the P shape. That's the only shape it can do because any other shape causes an orphan somewhere. It can't reach here with any of these shapes. The only shape that extends at least 4 spaces in any direction is the Y shape, and it would be like this. So it must be connected here. Now, this circle needs to extend out to a square without touching this circle. It can't do this because the only thing goes 4 spaces out again is a Y shape. It must be an F shape. P shape would touch the circle, so we can't do that. Not a lot of Y shapes so far. So we know these two touch each other. The question is, what do they do from there? They can't touch here. So it can't be a P shape. We know that much because that's the only P shape that fits. Can't be an F shape because it requires a 3x3, and the only way to do it is that. So this must be the Y shape that I was just mentioning, like so. And gosh, golly gee, I hope I got this. Okay. If this is a Y shape, it's here. That's bad. If this is a P shape, it's either that, which is bad, or this, which is bad for a different reason. So we have an F shape here. We need an F shape that touches a circle. That's the only one I can touch. And now it needs to touch at least one of these spaces, right? Like, we can't have anything here. In fact, it's got to touch 2 of them because it can't touch any of these. It's got to be that. All right, then it looks like we've broken the puzzle again. No, we haven't. I have it done. I see it. I see the solution. That's part 1, part 2, part 3. That's the solution. Great puzzle. Love that. See, that's how you do a 6 difficulty puzzle, fellas. All right, where's that 7? We're going to do the 7. We're going to do it. Okay, here we go. Elbows, S pieces, and W pieces. I am prepared to spend an hour on this, and it better be good. I don't want to be doing any guesswork. I want to be able to logically determine what we do. Where do we start with this puzzle? Like, elbow pieces are pretty restrictive. Or not elbow pieces, the W pieces are pretty restrictive because I gotta be able to zigzag a certain way. Like, if this wasn't part of a W, it can't hit this piece here or that one. So we can't have this. We can't even have this. In fact, we could never go up this direction. We could go this way. Oh, there's a couple versions of this, though. And we could go that way. Okay, so that's not the most restrictive, unfortunately. The thing about this is that these 3 pieces are just a version extending from the next. So an elbow with an added piece makes an S with an added piece makes a W. So I'm looking for places I can't have a W. I can have a W there. No, I can't. Because now this piece has to grab 2 circles. In fact, I couldn't have an S piece here either, because then the elbow would grab 2. So there could be an elbow going down. If I move down at all, I have to make an elbow. Now if I move up, do I cause any problems? Let's cause a problem with the W. I think I cause a problem here. If I move the W up, then this piece has to be at least an elbow. Great. What goes in here? Elbow has no piece in it. S piece has nothing in it. You can't make a W in that spot. W requires a 3x3 free. Right? That's not going to work. So this piece cannot be a W. We've got that out of the way. Can it be an S piece moving up? Let me do a different color for that. I like to use blues for W's and cyan for elbows. Let's make it purple. Let's say if this is our S piece, how much trouble are we in here? If we make an S piece going down, we have a problem. It would have to be going up. Now this piece would have to be at least an elbow. What goes here? Again, I ask you, what do we do with this spot? So this space cannot be an S piece or that. It must be an elbow. Now I don't know where it goes from there. Now let's look at this corner again. This corner has to touch a piece. I think this is where the break-in should have been. It has to touch a rose window. It has to touch a circle. An elbow won't reach. An S piece won't reach. Elbow will only get that far. S piece will only get that far. Therefore, this is a W, and it's going to hit these points there. Now, if the W is this shape, what goes here? Elbow doesn't touch anything. S piece doesn't touch anything. W doesn't touch anything. Therefore, the W is that way. All right. What goes here? Elbow doesn't touch anything. S doesn't touch anything. W does. I think this is our break-in. Now this piece could be anything. It can't actually be anything. Let's imagine, say we have an elbow. If we had an S piece, uh-oh, spaghetti-o, what do? We have 3 in a row here. Because this would have to move down, but it would also have to move up. Can't do that. So this is an elbow. What goes in this spot? I have a couple options. I was thinking if this went up, we'd be fine. If this went down, we would still be fine. So I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. How about this space? We have to have at least an elbow. Anything more, we touch another spot. The end. Solved. Do we have any other gimmies like this? I don't know. I think the rest of this might be more challenging. If I moved here. If I made this an elbow piece, we are very, very restricted underneath. Because this piece could never start by moving rightward. We'd never touch a piece. It would have to move down and thus be only an elbow. We would restrict us if we moved up. We would force an elbow piece here. Now if we moved down, we would force this to be only an elbow, because anything more would require these two to touch, which would force only an elbow here. So is that right? Elbow, 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 elbow. So no matter what, these two spaces are taken by elbow. Either this one or that one. Which means this piece can't move down. Can it move up? Yeah, it can be. It's fine. Can it move this way? It would have to move up. I have a couple options. Oh, hey, hold on, I have a thought. What about this guy? This piece has to be a W. Here's why. No elbow is going to touch anything. An S piece, oh no, it can be an S piece. It can be an S piece here. It can be S piece there or here. Dang it, there's 2 arrangements. W also works there as well. This works. No, I thought I had it. Is there another place that's just far away? Like that was the key. This was all so far away from pieces. For sure that's wrong. This could be right though. We just can't go down. Could this even be a W? No. In fact, it would have to just be an elbow. I think it only can be an elbow. It can either be an elbow here. Is that right? If this were the elbow, because we know this is an elbow, it can't be an S piece because it'll touch something else. If the elbow comes down here, no, this is still fine. This is still a perfectly acceptable thing to do. This is fine too. Like we can do this all day. Okay, let me find another spot to potentially break in further. Here. Is this a spot I can discover anything? I don't think so. I have a lot of options here. Over here I just have an elbow. Over here I have an S piece or an elbow. Over here I have literally everything. Nope. Incorrect. Can't do anything this way. This space cannot move down. If this space moves down, we can't touch anything that way. We can't touch anything this way. This space must move right and then down. That's a start. Okay, that's a start. This could be an elbow, this could be an S piece, this could be a W. It could be any of them. Okay, now we're a little bit more restricted here. Yes, because this piece now cannot move leftward. Because if we move leftward, we can't touch anything. It must move down. It could move left or right from here. Ah, now we have an issue. This piece here, what can it touch? It can only touch that guy, and it's got to move this way. And we broke the puzzle. Hold on. So let's go back to this. Yeah, we can't do this. We also can't do that. So, no, I see. This does have to move leftward. It can't move down, but it can move right this way. We just have to block here. This was the mistake, was moving down from there. Because now all I can do is something like this can still happen, right? Because if I move down, then it forces these to be here, which now forces this move, because it can't move left from here. But now, this space would require a W, and it creates a problem there. So this breaks the puzzle, but this does not break the puzzle here. Okay, what goes there? We can make this an S piece, or we can make it an S piece here, but this causes a problem. Therefore, this is an S piece, or a W. At least an S piece goes here. This must be complete as an elbow. I think this is correct. This one I'm a little bit less sure on. So let me go back to the point that I am sure. I don't want to end up in a position where I'm really stuck. So back to here. If this piece moves down, all possible arrangements do not contain a circle. Moves right. If it moves right, it can't move up. It also can't move right again. Now it could move down further, but it also could move this way. We know that if it moves down here, we block these spaces off, and now this space here has to be a different shape. Cannot move leftward because it won't touch anything, so it would have to move unless it moves like this. But either way, what touches this space now? I mean, what touches that space ever? That or that. This breaks the puzzle, so it's got to be at least an S piece here, which is going to force this to be different, which means we can't have that piece there. This does, in fact. Okay, so we are correct about that. This could still be a W piece, and we're not totally sure, but we do know that those are blocked. Which means... who gets this space? Who gets this one? I thought I couldn't... I could avoid... like, these two could touch. Not that way. These two could touch like so. Actually, this can't move left. Because if this space moves left, now what on earth do we do here? Therefore, this space moves down. But if this space moves down, it could move to the left, or it could move like that. But I know it moves down, and it's got a block there. This space can move down without a problem. It can also move up without a problem. I think we can go back to uniqueness on this one. If I move this space down into the left, it would force this move. And so this 2x3 space would be filled like so. But if I did this, it would also be the same 2x3 space with a different solution. Therefore, neither of these is correct, and it must in fact be connected here, like so. That, I think, is the correct answer, based on my own feelings. I hope that that's a good way to do logic on this. Now this space, if it doesn't connect to the circle below it, would be an impossible shape. Therefore, this one moves up, which means it doesn't move down. This space can't move down because then it would cause an orphan space. So this one moves to the right. This one has to move there, and then we're done. This space has to go at least that far. This space has to go at least that far. So we're forced to have another elbow. This space touches that one. Not sure how. We do know that this is blocked. That's blocked. That's blocked. This space has to touch that one. Is that right? No, it doesn't. That's possible. This is not a possible elbow. This space does have to touch that one. Wait, no, if we don't touch the circle here, we can't touch a circle anywhere. So this does touch here. So this is the only way. I'm going to change it to this color. This is the only way to touch this corner. Now, how do I reach anything down here, though? I see. Let's go back a second. Where is this one going to go, right? If this space moves up, which is fine, we have the issue of where this space goes, right? Actually, if this space doesn't move up, right? Who's it going to touch? You can't touch that. It's too big. You can't reach any of the other spaces. This space must move up. Cool. Which means, where does that space touch? This space can't touch either of those. Now, yes, it can touch this space, but now we cause a problem. What goes there? Therefore, this space touches this circle. That's the only one it can touch. I think we only have an elbow here. Oh no, I've broken the puzzle again. Maybe not that much. Maybe not that much. I don't think I've broken it that far. Okay. This piece must be at least an elbow. And then now here, this is the only one we can touch. I hope I'm right. That's all I can say is I hope I'm right. I don't know if this is correct. I don't know of any other way to make this arrangement work. It's really easy to overlook stuff. At least for me, I'm not the smartest person there is. Okay, who are you going to touch? That space there can only reach that one. So these are all part of the same shape. That is not part of the shape anymore. Must extend out. So yeah, the only way is this. This shape is going to have to move down, but it can't move to the right, and it can't move any further down, so we have an elbow here. So this is, in fact, an S shape. It's the only S shape we have so far. If this shape doesn't extend up, we have a W shape here. But is there a reason? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go back to uniqueness. If I have this shape be just an elbow, we'd force a W shape here, right? And if this shape is correct, it means that this border is as, right? If that border is as it is, and the puzzle's solvable, the puzzle would also be solvable like this. This cannot be the case. Therefore, this must be at least an S shape. And this piece, whatever's here, that extends into this piece must also extend to the right. Otherwise, the puzzle's unsolvable, right? Or at least it has more than one solution. And we don't have more than one solution, therefore it goes to the right. So the question is, do we have a W shape? I think we can do it again, I think. Right? No, we still have a uniqueness problem here. Because this is the same as this. But we can't make this shape any bigger. Unless we make this. So I probably got something wrong. Because otherwise we have two solutions here. Because there's no other restriction. I can do this all day. This shape has to be at least that. Then we have to do this. It's the only way to fit this corner in. Which means we have to at least make this shape work out. Now, at this point, I'm assuming I have something wrong. I just assume that I got it wrong, and I'm going to have to start the whole freaking thing over because I don't know where I did it wrong. Um, this shape touches that shape, right? If this shape touches that shape, it can't touch this one. That is required. This shape can't move up because then it will never touch anything, so we have to move to the right, which means it moves up. So that's an S shape. According to the logic I have here, this must just be an elbow. Yeah, because then up here we have a problem. This area must move left. But then, what do we got? What do we got going on here? Ah, so yeah, we've broken the puzzle, but I don't know where I broke it. Can this be here? No, because then nothing fits here. Nothing goes here. Cool. Cool. I have a mistake in here, and I have to retrace so many steps that I'm just gonna do this. This is the only piece here. It can't be like this, because then nothing goes there. So we start with this. We start with that. Okay, we knew that much. Let's put some of these back in. Let's think about this corner then, because this corner is where I broke the puzzle. This piece could move down. In fact, if it doesn't move, let's suppose we move this way. Now, this piece can't touch anything. Therefore, it's a W piece here. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Let's go that far at least. This one goes at least that far, and in fact has to stop there. It can't go any further. This piece cannot move to the right, because again, what do we do with that? So we have to bring it down at least that far. This is complete. Oopsie daisy, meant to just draw a border. If this piece moves down, it can't touch anything. So it must move to the right and then down. This piece can't move left because then it won't touch anything. Unless it's part of that, dang it. Who's this guy going to reach? That far at the very least. That far at the very least. This space. Where's that going to go? That's got to now go this direction. Gosh, I hope this is the correct way. Start on this side, work our way over here, see if I can solve it. This is fine, I think. So is that. Now this space can't move up because now we're not going to touch anything. Because this is the one that has to touch there. Therefore, we have to go this way. Hold on. That'll break the puzzle. That is fine. That's the only way I can do this. Let's make these. I think this is the only way. This piece has a lot of spaces it can go. This one's done. That one's done. I think. Let's go with this. Let's assume now we're in the right track here. This piece could go here. It could also go there. It really has a lot of places it can go. I actually don't think this is correct. We're going to go back to the uniqueness again. If I make this the elbow, then this shape has to belong to one of these two. It either belongs to the upper one or the one on the right. Both of these, they're two different ways to make the same solution, no matter what. So I don't think that's correct. I don't think this goes leftward. I think this goes down. And then it has to be like this. There's this piece here. This piece can't go left, so it has to go down and make this shape for sure, which would force us to put an S piece here. This elbow now is complete. This guy might extend a little further, we're not sure. We can do that. It's fine. We can also do this. And actually, hold on. No. We can't do that. If we move left from here, we have to move down. And now who goes there? That's not going to happen. Therefore, we have at least an S piece here. This piece has to just be an elbow. How about this guy? This space here, if it moves leftward, it can't move up because now we have nowhere for it to go. It creates a space here that's impossible. We'd have to move it down. We have an orphan space. Therefore, this moves down, and it becomes a W piece like this. This space cannot move left. If it moves left, it can move up and then block that piece in, or it can move down, and now it doesn't touch anything. Therefore, this space moves up, and the only thing it can do is this elbow. Here. Let's think about this down here. If I make this just a plain old elbow, right? What goes here? This piece can't touch anybody. So this piece has to be at least an S. Which means this piece has to be at least an S. This piece now has to be a W. And then we have an elbow down here. Yeah, so this is slightly different in the corner. We're going to find out what this section does now without having to guess. This piece could extend further. It might go up, you know. But it doesn't have to be. This can extend just fine. How about this guy? Right here. This piece has to be a W. It can't connect there. That's too big. Obviously cannot connect to that one. It has to connect. It can't go straight up there. It has to be this. It has to be these three spaces. And it can't go up because then what do we put here? So we have to bring this here. Not entirely sure. It's possible that we have the elbow here. It's also possible we have an S piece. Whatever the case, it needs to not be a thing of uniqueness. Actually, it can't end here. Right? So this piece has to move to there. But it can't be the end of the piece because then 4 and 4 works, but 3 and 5 also works. That's not unique. Therefore, we have to have at least 4 spaces here. And once again, uniqueness. This and that are the same solution. So we have to bring this up and bring that up. I can't see any other way to make this work. That's going to do this here, but then who's going to go there? Who's going to go anywhere? No, this isn't working. That's probably because this was a guess that was wrong. No, if I... Okay, this is a guess that didn't work then. I keep thinking the uniqueness is going to save me, but it's not really doing a lot. Once again, this has to be... This piece here cannot touch anything but there. This piece here must go at least that far. Let's just leave it there. Let's not try the uniqueness trick right now. This piece is at least that far. Could go up one more. But who goes there? That's done. And then it has to be. It's the only thing I can do now. That's at least that far. And it can't go any further because we make an orphan space. That's at least that far. Who goes there? Who does go here? That's as far as we go there. What if I made this a blue space? Made this piece go down. No, I can't. I can't do that. Can this piece go a little further out? Let's get rid of all this. Something's wrong with all this section here. Can I do this? No, I can't do that. now this piece can't go anywhere. Yeah, this piece can't extend. I've made a mistake again somewhere, but where? Because now this piece goes here, and we're really screwed here. Okay. Take it back a little ways. Take it back to the uniqueness thing, because this seems to have screwed me over every time I've tried to come up with a unique solution to anything. So let's go back to here. Piece goes there. This piece can't move up, because then we do that. We have to move this way. Then we have to do that. So this is still correct. This piece can't move left, because then we would have a problem, unless we make this a W piece. That might have been the mistake is here. How about this piece? This piece here has a couple ways it can go. Now, if this spot touched that one, this is one way to do it, but this doesn't work because now how do we fill this space? This, oh no, it would have to be, or an S piece, but we'd have the same issue. So this piece can't touch any of that. It has to go here. This is possible. This is not. This piece here can't touch there. It can only touch this spot here, which does force us to make this move. This piece can only be touched there. This is only there. This is required. But now we're screwed here. So this doesn't work either. Okay, if I make this a 5er, does that solve anything? We have this. No, because who goes, what? This doesn't touch anything. Head back again. Figure out what we've got going on with these pieces. Alright, back to here. This piece can't touch down there ever. It must reach there. That is solved for us. Okay, this piece here, which circles are going to touch? It can't reach that one, can't reach that one. These two are the obvious choices. Now if I move this way, this is now completely screwed over. So I do have to move left here and there. So in here, if this piece moved up, we'd be in trouble. So this is blocked like so. We have to do that. That means this piece must reach there, and it must do it like this. And that's finished. This piece must go at least that far. How did I have this before where it didn't screw up? Could it also be this? Yeah, it's this way. Which means this piece... there's still a few options here. So this piece again, where does it go? That's the only one it can touch. Right? This way or... yeah, this way. For sure. Or how about you? You have to touch that. That's forced. That's forced. Okay. This piece can only touch that one. This one can only touch that one. But now we're screwed down here. Because what does this one touch? We have an orphan piece. Okay, so that's not correct either. Is there any other way to make these work? If this was a 5er... still doesn't really help me. Let's go at least that far. This piece would need to touch there. It would need to be this. And then there's nobody here. Nobody home. This doesn't work either. Well, attempt number 3. Really not a fan of when this kind of stuff happens. At least this one has a break-in I can use. Once again, we're going to start all over with this puzzle. It's my favorite thing to do. Alright. Forced. Forced move. Can't be this, because then this piece here is not going to touch anybody. There you go. That is forced. This piece now is also forced. Those are the easy ones. We have at least that. This one is complete because any other further motion is going to be breaking the puzzle. This piece cannot move to the right, because if it moves to the right, then it has to move down, and then nothing goes there. So we have to do at least that. We have to do at least that. Now in this corner, if we move left, we have to move down, and then we're going to be in trouble here. So this one has to move down like so. Is this correct? This one has to be at least a 4. That's at least 3. If this moves down, we can't, so it's got to move this way, and then move down either here or there. This piece, there's a few options for that one. This piece here, that's fine. That's fine. But again, uniqueness makes me think it's not up there, but the uniqueness has screwed me over every time. It shouldn't be. It should be a correct way to figure out something in a puzzle, but every time I've tried, I've been screwed over by it. Okay, this piece here has to touch that one. There's no way around that. So far, we haven't really changed anything in our puzzle solving. So now this piece can only touch that one. That is forced. So if we move this up, we wouldn't be able to fill this piece in. So we have to move it up this way. That's what we had before. We have to go at least that far, which is actually going to force the move here. This one's done. This piece. There's quite a few ways that piece can go. Is there anything down here? Once again, this piece right here. We have the option to go here. We also have the option to go here. Let's say we just had that piece. Then we would have to do this and be screwed. Even this would be screwing us over. So no, it does have to reach there. At the very, very least, we have to do that. This piece now can't touch anything but this one. You gotta definitely block these off. Okay, this piece down here. We're making a lot of the same mistakes as before, honestly. I think we're not really getting any closer to the truth. Gotta go at least that far. This piece now has a couple options. That's an option, but that's an option. That's an option. I don't think it's this, but we'll see. Where do you go? This piece right here. It can't connect that as too many pieces. It has to connect there. This has to go there. Which means what exactly? This piece is going to connect there. Like we can do that. Where's this one going to connect? Can't go there, it's too many pieces. So that's that. I don't think we've learned anything. I think we've got ourselves back in the same hole we were in before. This cannot reach anything, so it's got to be part of that. This cannot reach anything. So, yeah, this piece... No, it can't. This piece can reach. This piece can only reach that one. That means this piece must move up. Block that. Still quite a ways to go. That's got to be cornered that way. Still not totally sure it's going to go. This piece. It can go that way, go that way. No, it can't go that way. Causes a problem. Therefore, there. This now is complete. Because if it goes this way, we have a problem. Okay. We have a couple options for this corner. Whoops. This is an option, but so is that. No guarantees. This one could also continue down. We're not totally sure. It has to be at least that far. I think this blue one is done. If we move it down, we cause a problem. We can't have that happen. How about you? This piece has to be something's off here. This piece can't touch anybody. Can't go that way. It would have to go here. But now, what do I do here? Can't go that way. So once again, we're in a corner here, and I don't know what to do. This is like the other puzzle before. I feel a little better about this puzzle than the other one because I can see how I've made mistakes before. But again, I don't see the mistakes. I only see the obvious, this is the one choice I have. So I can take it back and try again for the 4th time. I really hate doing that, especially when recording a video, because it's like, you just watched me solve it incorrectly 5 times. So none of this, again, we have to start here. This cannot be done any differently. Right? And then it can't be like this, or it can't be like this, because then this piece has nowhere to go. So yes, I've now for the 4th time affirmed myself that I started the puzzle correctly. This piece now has no option. That as far as that goes, these are actually, this is done because we can't extend into there. This piece can't move to the right because then it would move down. We block that piece in, therefore we have to start with that. We have to start with that. Whatever goes up here could go that way. Actually, if it goes to the left, it has to go down, and then we have a problem here. So yes, we still have these done. This is at least a 4. Nothing's changed at all. At least a 3 there. This space. Once again, there. This can't move down because we have a problem. So it has to move left. So we've finished that. This is exactly what I had before. I do not like it when I go back through a puzzle trying to find what's wrong and I don't see a new thing. I don't like that at all. What's this piece gonna do? Here. It's not gonna do that. This piece has to move left, which means it can't move up. It has to move that way. That. Same as before. Nope, this doesn't work because now where does this go? So this isn't the correct arrangement. That's the correct arrangement. Now this piece has to touch. But we still don't know which one this one touches. Right. Because this is where it goes. At least that far. This piece now has to touch at least that far. This piece can only touch that one. This piece has multiple options. This piece, I see. Yeah, it's the same solution we had before. So clearly there's a wrong choice somewhere in here. But every choice I've made has been the one and only choice I could make. So I don't get it. I just don't get it. It'd be one thing if I was guessing, and I'm guessing incorrectly, so I have to try again, but I'm not guessing. I don't get it. Could this piece move further? This one goes at least that far. What if it went out further? But that's a guess. Again, no guessing. You have to figure it out without a guess. Logic. That piece. That piece. So again, we're here. This piece can only touch that one. Which means this piece can only touch that one. We're right back where we were. We haven't solved anything. This can't move up because then this piece would grab 2. So this piece would be complete. This piece grabs that. This piece grabs that. These two are together. Which means this piece has nowhere to go. Ah, no, it does. It has somewhere to go. It has to be here. This piece now has to grab that one. This piece doesn't have anywhere to go. What if we did that? No, we can't do that because now this has nowhere to go. So this is still correct. This can't move down because it doesn't touch anything. Can't touch this because then that piece doesn't go anywhere. So this seems to be the area of just absolute torture. So I guess I'm going to just try things here. I really don't like that as a solution. So if we went here, right, that has to be the case. Now if we were to move even one space down, this piece would be, so this was correct. That was not an incorrect move. Here, any elbow is going to be wrong. Therefore, it has to be at least an S piece. So if we move down, we can't move that way. We'd have to move here. But now this is wrong. So we would have to move to the right to start, which is going to give us that. This piece now would have to touch there. Will this work? But then what does the rest of this do? That has to go there. This piece would then have to move up. This piece, well, we don't know about that one actually. But yeah, I'm guessing. That's all I'm doing is guessing. And so even if I get this as the answer, then I don't have any others. I don't have any other idea. Actually, hold on. In here, we don't know. We just know those are together. And those are together. And this is different. This has to go out that far at least. This piece. Once again, we're here. I think we're going to break the puzzle. Yeah, who goes there? Who goes around this spot right here? Get rid of all that stuff. Assume all that was wrong. If all that is wrong, what on earth is the puzzle solution? Once again, we're just checking for the billionth time. Is this correct? No, because then there's no piece that goes here. That's correct. Therefore, this piece is also correct. That is, well, this can't move down because then we have a problem there. That is correct. This is either going to go up or down. Either way, these two are connected. If it goes down, these two are connected here. If it goes up, is there a way those aren't connected? I suppose. Like, here is a thing, but that's, again, guesswork. Guessing is bad. This has to move. We can't move it any further than that. This piece. Can't make an elbow. S piece breaks it, so it has to connect there. That is it. It can go further, but it has to go at least that far. This piece has multiple avenues. This spot here. Has a couple, like there's a couple different alternatives here. But again, guesswork. Guesswork is wrong. Don't do that. This has to be different. So if we move this to the right, then we create a problem here. So it's got to move up and around. Done. This piece now can't move rightward because I'm going to cause a problem. So that's done. Now this is also, potentially, it could go further. But if I moved this further, how would I handle this spot? Everything would break there. So this is the move. But before I even do this, what goes there? If it was an elbow, it'd have to be this. It's the only elbow that works. Or that. This elbow doesn't work, because now there's nowhere for that to go. This now doesn't work because it has nowhere to go. So it's not an elbow. It's got more than an elbow going on. That's blocked. This piece. Gonna connect there or there. This piece has multiple ways to go. Here has multiple ways to go. Let's look at this one. If it moves left, we're screwed. So it can't. It'll move down. Now if it doesn't move from there, that's possible, but it can't move that way. So if this piece moves down, it has to move left. But it could also move right. That doesn't work. This, see, I don't like this move because of uniqueness. Because if this is the move, it can't go any further, because then it causes a problem there. So it would have to be this, and then these are the same solution. You can't have that. Therefore, this can't be going down to the left. It has to connect here. Which means this does have to connect that way. But this might not be the end of the piece. This piece has to move. If it moves right, it can't go any further anyway, so it has to move down. And it could move either direction here. I could move this all the way down. Just go here, maybe? There's a lot of options for this one. No, this can't move rightward, can it? Could. That's a possibility. But this still feels like guesswork. Like, I'm using the uniqueness rule, but still feels like guesswork, which is wrong. But I can't do anything else. Every other move I've made has led to disaster. This piece has multiple ways to go. It can go there or there. So I can't solve it from that piece. Does it cause problems if I do this? No. Does it cause problems if I do this? No. That can't happen. So once again, we can't do that. So this piece has to move down. So that's still correct. This piece doesn't have to touch it. No, this piece has to touch that one. There's no getting around it. This one has to at least go that far. And it could go one more? No. If I move this here, then this piece is going to cause a problem there. So we know that is the end of that piece. Which means this one can't go like that. So this piece can't move down. It must move left. And then down. Same position we were in before. If these two are connected, they have to be connected via this spot. But it could go further, we don't know. This space now must be at least 4. We have a lot of options here. If I do this space... But now this space does break the puzzle, so I do have to do this. Requires an elbow here, either left or right. But now here I would have an issue. I can't have this be a separate space. This has to belong to at least one of these two. Actually, this space can't be a start of a new shape. This has to be a continuation of this shape. This could be the start of a new shape, or it could be the continuation of this one. That's got to be blocked here. What's there? This has to be a new shape. If this shape were not to move left, we could move it this way. Could we? It's not touching anything. If this shape doesn't move left, it would have to touch there. But then this would be a problem. Therefore, this shape, whatever's here, it can't be any of these. It must move left. If it moves left, it can't move left again. And we're back to this shape here. Just as before, there's only one way. This is it. You can't ever touch 3 spaces or 2 spaces away in a single direction. It has to be diagonal. This is going to break the puzzle because now we have a problem down there. Therefore, this is still required. This would break the puzzle, therefore it is just an elbow going this way. And now we need something to extend into this space. It's going to be this piece. I have a feeling it's still going to, the puzzle's still going to break. I'm going to still do something wrong, and I don't know what it is. Why did I know this was going that way? Why doesn't it go that way? That's still possible. I just know there's a piece here. That's not one of these two. This piece, just an elbow. Here is an elbow. This is done. I don't want to do this corner because this is where it starts. The trouble starts when I do that corner. But the trouble is I don't have anything that's not a guess. This could be any number of shapes coming out. This is a new shape here. That shape. What can touch this shape? Or what shape can touch this square? That one and that one. This shape causes problems because how do we fill this in? I would love to be able to fill it in this way, but I can't. There's that pesky thing right there. Therefore, like this is so close, but it's no cigar. Therefore, it's this shape. Unless I've missed something potentially with this one. But I don't think I have. That's the shape. That is the required shape here. And we're back to square one in this area, aren't we? This would have to be that shape. I mean, so far, this isn't breaking the puzzle yet. This would have to be a 4 shape or a 5. This shape now needs to touch somebody, and the only one it can touch is here. But then what do I do with all of this? This just doesn't work. Because if I say I'm not touching that shape at all, I'm touching this one. I'm back to this issue here, which doesn't work. I hate using the check progress thing, but I press this once the puzzle's not fun anymore. And an hour and a half into this isn't fun anymore. Because I'm looking at it going, I'm just following the rules of the puzzle and it's leading to a dead end. I don't know if that extends. This piece can't go there. Can't do this. Could do that. In fact, it would have to, or it could go there. This would be a problem, though. Is there any other thing I can do here? This piece can't go down, can it? Force me to move there. Here, I can check to see if it's all... There's at least one mistake here. But then, how do... But there's a uniqueness problem here. This is just the same issue as before. And it's going to reveal that it's that. Okay, I can't stand this one anymore. I genuinely... Like, I like hard puzzles, but what I don't like is doing it 5 times in a row, not seeing a different way to do things. Here we go. If I get rid of that... Here, I'm going to get rid of stuff until I don't have a mistake. I hate that. I hate this so much. Okay. Gotta do that at least. Gotta do that. Which means we have to do that. Don't have to do that. We have to do this and that, but we don't know. But this one, it says extends further. Yeah, it's so far correct. So if I go from here, can I solve the puzzle? This piece. If it moves down, we're screwed. Therefore, it moves over. Yeah, so we have this. It feels like it's the same solution as before. Like I've tried this one and it just didn't work. This got to be at least that. This has to be at least that. Nope. This piece, once again, and it can't be this way, so it's got to be here. It's got to go at least there. Let's check again. Everything so far is correct. Yep. This is not very much I can do with it. It's the same thing. But what has changed? Because I would run into problems over here no matter what I did down here. It wasn't like this was the area that ruined the puzzle. It was all over here. That's done. This piece can't go there. Watch, it's going to say there's a mistake, and it's right there. I know that. It has to go here. And then it's going to say that the progress is so far correct. All right, now this piece is forced. Now this could go up. No, it can't, because then we have a problem there. Therefore, progress is correct. Look at that. This piece can only touch here and there. This is obviously going to say it's wrong. It cannot do that. It's going to reveal this spot right there. Yep. Yeah, this is wrong because it creates an issue. So it has to be this one, and it's going to say that's correct. See, so far everything is the same as I've already done. Jeez. This piece, I mean, there's always that. We can't have this elbow happen, right? So this piece can't move right. And down. It has to move down from here. And it has to go there. And it's going to say again, everything entered so far is correct. This piece, now if we made it go like this, that's fine. If we made it go here, that's fine. How about this space here? This one, there you go. It has to be like that. This piece now has to be there. This is the same solution I've been entering so far. Somehow it's right now. Okay, what's next? What is the required step here? I know that's blocked. This space here can't be blocked there, right? No? That's possible. If I move this way... If this space doesn't belong... Okay, if this space doesn't move there, right? What is this going to touch? Nothing. So it is, in fact, these are blocked. So that is a space. This is at least 3. Actually, it's at least 4. We don't know how these 5s are going to shake out. This has to stand up at least that far. Okay, so what next? What's the logical move? Does this break the puzzle anywhere? It does not. If I did this, however, it would force me to make these moves, which would break the puzzle, because we would force this move here, and now there has to be a move up this way. This would be forced, and then how am I going to fit these pieces in? There's nowhere to fit them. Yeah. So I believe... Let's go back and then make this move. That's got to be it. It could go down one more. Or is the game going to tell me it's wrong? There's a game... Fuck. Yeah. Wait, no, but then... this move forced me to make... Because this piece now has to go like this. At least this far. Here is fine. That's done. This has to be done. It's going to say there's a mistake, though. No, there isn't. Okay, so somehow I can solve it from here. Yes, I can solve it from here. That was really frustrating. And I feel like it didn't have to be as frustrating as it was. Like, I've explained before, I don't mind doing a hard puzzle where there's progress, but that was starting over, not seeing a solution. That's really not fun at all. Man, I'm not as much liking the last couple of things I've done, because that has been my experience with the puzzles. Has been just complete brick wall. Oh well, that's a really disappointing end for me. Sorry you have to see that. But I'm going to head out now. That was a really long video as well. Sorry to make you sit through it, but I'm going to leave. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.